Across the vast emptiness of space, patterns emerge. The rise and fall of civilizations, the echoes of their achievements, the silence that follows their extinction. But among these ruins, scattered across hundreds of dead worlds, there is something far more disturbing, something that defies probability. No matter the species, no matter the origin, every fallen civilization left behind the same message, written in different languages, carved into alien stone, transmitted in dying signals. A warning: do not approach Earth. They are not what they seem. They guard something worse. At first, no one noticed the connection. The galaxy is old, and extinction is common. But over time, archaeologists, historians, and data analysts began to piece together the pattern. No matter how advanced, no matter how powerful, every species that grew too ambitious, that ventured too far, inevitably left the same cryptic message before they vanished. To the Galactic Council, this made no sense. Earth was an unremarkable planet orbiting an unremarkable star. Its inhabitants, humans, were primitive by galactic standards. No great fleet, no overwhelming technology, nothing that should have warranted such a warning. And yet, time and time again, civilizations that had thrived for millions of years all pointed to the same insignificant world before disappearing forever. Some dismissed it as a coincidence, an old superstition passed between ancient species. Others saw it as a riddle, a mystery that demanded to be solved. And then there were those who feared it, those who believed that whatever truth lay behind the warning was something best left undiscovered. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. Among the many species of the galaxy, there was one that did not fear myths, that did not heed ancient warnings. A race proud of its intellect, of its dominance. The Zephyrins, they had conquered hundreds of worlds, crushed empires, unlocked the deepest secrets of physics. To them, Earth was nothing more than a curiosity, one they intended to understand. They ignored the warnings, they dismissed the fear, and they did what every doomed species before them had done. They went to see for themselves. The Zephyrins were not fools. They had studied history, seen the rise and fall of countless civilizations. But unlike the others, they did not fear Earth. They pitted it. From the moment their stealth fleet entered the Sol system, they observed humanity with clinical detachment. The planet's inhabitants were reckless, emotional, short-lived. Their technology was crude, their wars frequent. There was no grand secret, no cosmic horror lurking in the shadows. Just a species struggling to survive, like countless others before them. The warnings were nothing more than superstition. Still, they followed protocol. Cloaked observation drones infiltrated Earth's atmosphere, gathering data. The Zephyrins watched as humans built cities, waged wars, loved, lost, and carried on as if the universe itself did not exist beyond their skies. There was no sign of anything being guarded, no anomaly, no threat. Then the anomalies began. A scout ship stationed above the Pacific Ocean detected something impossible. A brief fluctuation in space-time, gone in an instant. An error, perhaps, a sensor malfunction. But then it happened again, and again, always near human population centers, always just beyond the limits of detection. One Zephyrin scientist proposed a theory, one that was immediately dismissed. What if they aren't guarding something external? What if the danger is intrinsic to them? The idea was absurd. Humanity was primitive, weak. The Zephyrins were a galactic superpower, their technology centuries ahead. And yet, the numbers didn't lie. Then the first disappearance occurred. A reconnaissance operative station near a human city sent a final transmission. Asterisk, it's awake. Asterisk, no further communication. No trace of the operative remained. The team dismissed it as an accident, perhaps a malfunction in his equipment, or local wildlife interference. But then another scout vanished, and another. Panic began to set in. The Zephyrins ordered an immediate extraction, but for some, it was already too late. Distorted transmissions, fragmented and broken, contained only whispers, frantic, garbled voices repeating the same phrase over and over. Asterisk, they don't know. Asterisk, and then silence. The surviving scouts fled back to their fleet, their confidence now shaken. This was no coincidence. Something was wrong with Earth. Something beyond logic, beyond reason. And yet, humanity continued on, oblivious to it all. The Zephyrs had come seeking answers. But now, they only wanted to leave. The Zephyrs had always considered themselves the pinnacle of intelligence. Their technology could peer into the fabric of reality, their minds sharpened by generations of conquest and discovery. But for the first time in their history, they felt something unfamiliar, something they did not have a word for. Fear, desperate for answers. They turned to the encrypted human networks, bypassing layers of digital security with ease. They expected nothing of value, perhaps myths, propaganda, or outdated superstitions. But what they found was something else entirely. Buried beneath centuries of classified files, beneath layers of forgotten history, was a record that should not exist, an account of something that defied all logic. It spoke of a war older than any human civilization, older than any written language, a war that had no beginning and, more importantly, no recorded end. Not a war between nations, not between species, but between humanity and something else. The records were fragmented, deliberately erased in places, but one fact was clear. Humanity had been different once. Before recorded history, before the first human cities, they had fought against an unknown force, something that had nearly driven them to extinction, and they had won. The Zephyrs could not understand how. The humans of today were nothing special. Their weapons were outdated, their knowledge incomplete. Yet something in their very nature had allowed them to triumph where entire empires had crumbled. A single recovered phrase stood out among the corrupted data, one translated from an ancient human dialect, long forgotten. It is not the enemy that must be contained. It is us. A horrifying realization settled over the Zephyr researchers. The warning left behind by dead civilizations had been misinterpreted. The message was not about what humanity was guarding. It was about humanity itself. This was why Earth had remained untouched, why species far greater, far older, had never dared to interfere. They had tried once, tried to remove the threat, to control it, to destroy it, and in doing so, they had vanished, not because of some ancient horror, but because something within humanity had awakened. The Zephyr High Command ordered an immediate retreat. Every record of Earth, every mention of humanity, was to be erased from their archives. Contact with the planet was forbidden. The fleet prepared for an emergency jump to light speed. Then one final transmission came through from their last remaining scout on Earth. A message, calm and unwavering. You were never supposed to find out. The fleet vanished into the void, fleeing faster than any empire had ever fled before. But it was already too late. They had come too close. They had seen too much. And, like those before them, they would not be heard from again. In the days that followed, the Zephyr homeworld waited for their fleet's return. It never came. Official reports listed the expedition as a tragic loss, an unexplained failure of navigation, an accident in the void. The truth, however, would never be spoken. No distress signals, no escape pods, no wreckage. The entire fleet gone, as if it had never existed at all. The Zephyr leadership, once arrogant and unshakable, quietly enacted a silent decree. Earth was to be forgotten. No records, no discussions, no further expeditions. If any among them still harbored curiosity, they buried it beneath the weight of fear. But history repeats itself. Centuries later, long after the Zephyrs had faded into irrelevance, a new species looked to the stars. They found the ruins of fallen empires, the remnants of long-lost civilizations. And in those ruins, they uncovered an old, chilling message. Do not approach Earth. Curiosity is a dangerous thing, and ignorance even more so. Meanwhile, on the surface of the blue planet. Life continued as it always had. Humanity grew, expanded, reached further into the cosmos. They sent probes into the darkness, reached out with hopeful signals, seeking others among the stars. They never understood why the galaxy was so silent. A human scientist gazed at the night sky, troubled by the emptiness. It made no sense. The universe was vast, ancient, teeming with worlds that should have been full of life. And yet, there was nothing. The silence stretched on, unbroken, unending, because they had all come too close, because they had all disappeared. And humanity, never knowing, never remembering, simply carried on.